Hey everyone, for today's journal entry, we're going to be working on summarizing a nonfiction text. Some of you might be reading a nonfiction book on your own independently. So today I'm going to show you what the expectations are in a nonfiction text journal entry, especially when you're being asked to summarize it. So I've created a little bit of a checklist for you. The first thing when we're reading, we always want to think about what's the main idea of that particular part of your text. Next, we also want to include the most important details that support the main idea. Sometimes with that informational text, we get a lot of interesting information, but we want to stick with what's the most important information. And then when we're writing, we definitely want to make sure that we use keywords from the text, but they have to be written in your own words, which means no copying. You have to take the ideas and put them into your own words. So I very quickly want to show and share with you the text that I've been reading. The text that I've been reading is called Big Cats by Seymour Simon. Fantastic book, and it is fully loaded with information, fascinating facts about big cats. And I want to make sure the section that I've read, I only focus on the main idea and the most important details. So let me very quickly show you the text that I've read. I didn't read the whole book in one sitting. I just read a particular section of it. I'm going to read it to you as quickly as I can so that I can show you how I take all of that information and I write it into just a quick summary. So I'm going to hold my camera over the text, and as quickly as I can, here we go. You can time me if you'd like. A cat's senses are very keen, and it can detect its prey at a distance or at night. Sensitive hairs in the jaguar's ears can pick up the sound of an animal's movements even before the animal can be seen. The ears can be turned in different directions so that the jaguar can tell where the sound is coming from. The long whiskers are special hairs that the cat uses in the dark to feel objects around it. The moist nose is also very sensitive and helps the cat follow its prey trail by smell. The eyes of a cat are far and separate and give it a wide field of vision. The big eyes help gather in as much light as possible in the dark. Sunlight passes through the eyes without being absorbed by light-sensitive cells. Cats have a special lining of reflecting cells at the back of their eyes. The lining acts like a mirror and reflects the light back through the eyes so that even more light is absorbed. This mirror is the reason a cat's eyes seem to shine in the dark. So, boys and girls, that's a lot of information about cats, but I noticed right away when I started reading this passage that it's talking about the cat's senses and that they are very keen, meaning they are very sharp, and there's a reason that it's very sharp. Cats need these senses so that they can survive. That's what I'm understanding the main idea to be. So when I write my journal entry, I'm going to go ahead and switch over now that I have my main idea. I read all of that information, but I have to keep it to the most important information. So my nonfiction journal entry is to summarize the text I have read today. I need to include the main idea, the most important details. I definitely need to make sure that I'm putting this writing into my own words. So when I start writing, any good writer knows we're writing a shorter response. It's a summary, but we still need to show the reader that we're writing a paragraph. So I'm still going to use that indenting. That's definitely a basic convention that we want to make sure that we're always practicing. And I'm going to start with a capital letter during my writing. So the book. And again, we have to help the reader understand exactly what book we've been reading, especially if you're sharing with your teacher the book that you've been reading or other students. The book, Big Cats, and that's the title of the book, so I have to capitalize it. I mentioned it before in another video, but if you're writing the title of a book, generally, we underline the title of a book in our writing. And this time I'm going to include the author's name, and his name is Seymour. Capital S for Seymour, and I did use the spelling from the text to help me with that. Simon is about, and obviously if the title is Big Cats, it's about the variety, meaning the different kinds, the variety of cats that live in the wild, not in our house, hopefully not in our house, that would be dangerous, that live in the wild. Okay, so that's the end of my first complete thought, but you know what? I could give some examples. When I did do some reading, the author did mention some of the cats, so I can continue this sentence by saying such as, I want to give my reader that information. There are lions, tigers, comma, I'm using those commas to separate my items in a list. Let's see, there are leopards, comma, and cheetahs. And those are just to name a few. Those not every single cat that I've read about in this book so far, but those are just a few that I wanted to help my reader understand what I've learned about. So I'm going to reference the section I read today, the section I read today. And again, I didn't read the entire book today. It's a little bit of a lengthier book, but I read and I did some thinking about what I read and now I'm summarizing it. So let's see, the section I have read today so far is about the cats, and I'm talking about more than one cat. So I'm going to put the S at the end of that word cat, but it shows ownership of all the different features that they have. So I put the apostrophe after the S to show the ownership of the senses that they have. So let's see. Today is about the cat's senses and how they help them survive. Now that's a nice sentence. I have that basic information, but again, we're good writers. We give information, and I do have important details from the text that I want to and need to include for the teacher, for my reader, and for you all as students. So let's see. I'm going to just quickly include the senses that I read about. These senses include, and I had read about the ears, and I thought it was really cool that the jaguars have sensitive hairs inside the ears, but I don't need all of that extra information. I just need to know that they have sharp hearing. Let's see, what else did they have? They have whiskers. Whiskers to help them feel, comma, let's see, a sensitive nose to smell their prey, and it belongs to them, so it's THEIR, to smell their prey, comma, and let's see, and they talked a lot about the eyes, and eyes that help them see far and wide. And I just want to wrap up this summary. All of these senses help felines, that's the scientific name that I learned, felines survive by hunting for food and avoiding danger. So I have my real quick summary of the information that I read today. Again, notice I only picked out the main idea. I used key details from the main idea to help support the summary that I have read. I'm going to put my little mini anchor chart back here, and I definitely used keywords from the text, but I used my own words, which is exactly what you all are going to try out in your summarizing a nonfiction text that you've been working on for independent reading. Bye for now.